Hey, yo, everybody. Generic B here, and welcome to a tutorial for all of you YouTubers out there with your own channels, making the gameplay games and the videos and trying to entertain people. I have stumbled across something in my testing that has greatly reduced the render time that it takes for me to render my videos to make them available to upload for YouTube. And it is such a major increase in productivity for me that I just felt like I had to share this with people, because I know a lot of people use they use either Fraps, or they use Dxtory with the Lagarith lossless codec and stuff like that. So I wanted to show you what you can do to really speed things up. Essentially what we're going to do is we are going to install the x264 codec into Dxtory. And the reason for that is, and fellas, I'm going to put this with a caveat here. I may not be 100% correct in the reasons for the things go on. I'm just a caveman, right? But this is from the little bit that I've read and researched. I think this is what's going on, right? So typically, what takes the most amount of time when you are exporting a video, now I use Adobe Premiere, some people use Sony Vegas, etc., but the largest amount of time it takes when you export a video is transcoding. And transcoding is basically converting a video from one file type to another. Now, when you with Fraps and with Dxtory with the Lagarith lossless codec, that is you're using a lossless AVI file, and you're transcoding it to an x264 file, which is something that YouTube understands, or at least they like, right? So the trick is, if you record with the x264, then it greatly reduces the amount of time it takes to export your videos in Premiere or Vegas. So here's what you need. First thing, I use Dxtory. You need to get Dxtory. You can get it from here. All the links will be in the description. And so you'll just get this and install it, no biggie. The latest version, I believe, is, right at the time of this, is 0.128 or 0.126 is the most stable. That's the one I'm using right now. You also need the latest version of the x264 VFW codec, and this is where you'll get that. So looking for the latest version, boom, you just get that right there, and install it. Very easy to do. And then you'll also need the latest lame ACM MP3 codec. This one is a little more difficult to install, especially if you're running on a 64-bit machine like Windows 8, but there is instructions within the little zip file that tells you how to do it. It's not really that difficult. So you're going to install all of those, and then we're going to fire up Dxtory. So I'm going to show you that right now. Okie doke. So here we are with Dxtory open, and I'm just going to walk you through some of the steps on how to set this up in case you've never used Dxtory before. But in particular, we're going to go over how to configure the x264 codec and the MP3 stuff. So first tab, got a little business. I leave that alone. This guy is pretty much the same. You can just look at my my tab here. That's not very important. This guy, the folder, is what you use to set up your drives that you want to record to. Now this is important. You'll notice right now my write speed. This is a Western Digital 2 terabyte 7200 RPM hard drive that I write to. 161 megabyte is good enough if you're just recording plain old 720p or 1080p. You would probably want something a little faster. So like a solid state drive would be really nice. If you're doing 60 frames per second type of stuff. This does me fine for right now, and actually for a lot of games I can get away with 720p 60 frames per second pretty well. Like Goat Simulator is not a problem at all. But just so you know, that's the thing. Keyboard, this is where you will start the most important one is a hotkey for starting and stopping recording. Everything else you can see here if you want to do anything like that. Okay, meat and potato time. So under video codec, on the bottom, you'll see all these type of things. Before I was using the Lagarth lossless, but now there's a new x264 VFW. You click on that guy, and you can click this little kind of pin, little pin thing to show the configuration. This is how I currently have it set. So presets ultra fast, tuning's none, profile and levels are at auto, fast decode and zero latency are checked, convert to YUV420. That's just like some color type of stuff. This one right here, you can play with to see what kind of quality you get. So there's two of them. This one is a rate factor based CRF. Single pass is what you'd want. And I have it set at 15 because you can see on this little slider, one's high quality, low is or 51 is low quality. So for this one, the higher the quality, the more the computer has to process. Your CPU has to process in order to basically, this is transcoding as you're recording. So you may say, well, I want the highest quality. Well, what'll happen is it'll make the file size larger, which may or may not be, okay for you. But it may also cause the file size to be so big that it can't write to the drive fast enough, or your CPU may not be able to keep up with it, plus playing the game that you're playing. So just keep that in mind. I have it set at 15. You could also play around with a bitrate based, and typically when I render out in Premiere, I do anywhere between 10 and 15K. So you could just set that accordingly. But I find that this one's kind of nice. Everything else is pretty much the same. This is very, very important. The output mode, set it to VFW. And this little guy right here, set it to lowercase 264. Don't set it to any of these H's you may be inclined to. Don't set it to the capital. Set it to this low. You're going to have a bad time if you don't do it. And then this guy, I have honestly no idea what it does, but it's -- key int space 1. I picked this up during my research. There was a tutorial that suggested I do this, so got it. We're good to go. So hit OK. All of this should be default as you would go. Frame rate, this is where you would select if you want to do 30 or 60. You want to select file output. Direct show is if you are using something like XSplit to do some live streaming, which I haven't done in forever. I live stream with OBS now. So you select file output, AVI, and usually you'd want to include your mouse cursor. So you can see while you're, what you're pointing at when you record. And then here, if you want to downscale, so my monitor is a 1440 monitor, but I want to upload at 720. So you just set the size at 1280 and 720. Bob's your uncle. Okay, everything else should be good there. Let's go on to the audio. Now, the cool thing about Dxtory, that is what makes it, in my opinion, far superior than any other screen capture software out there. Better than Fraps, better than OBS, better than NVIDIA's Shadow Play, which I really hope they add this to it, is the ability to have separate audio channels. And so you can see I've got two right here. If you want to, by default, you'll have one, and you just hit the little plus sign to add one. The first audio channel is speakers. So that is like whatever's in the game. So my game sounds, my Skype, and stuff like that will be in there. And then the second one is my microphone. And so for this one, speakers, you just hit lame MP3. You want to make sure that, this is very important, you want to make sure that the hertz, the frequency that you have selected, is the same that you have set for your speakers and your microphones in Windows itself. because if you have this set to 48,000 in Dxtory, and let's say in your Windows sound configurations you've got it set to 44, it'll record, but your audio will gradually get more and more out of sync. Very important that you make sure those two match up. So I've just got my, this is my speakers, laying 48,000 hertz, 320 kilobits per second, CBR stereo, and microphone, same thing, except I just have it as mono. This is a mono microphone. So that is that. You can set up some stuff with some screenshots. I never bother with it. Under the advanced settings, you can hit a couple things. The one that might be the most important, and I'm kind of curious why this did not save, you can set this to the number of threads you want. So you can do like 4, 8, 12, however many threads you've got. I'm going to hit 4 because that seems to be pretty good. And then all this should be normal. And of course, this is normal. All right. So that is it. At that point, you record. Once you're done with recording, you'll right-click your file that you recorded, and you'll hit Extract Audio Streams, and that will give you each of the 2 different audio tracks. I'm not really going to show you that part because some of you use Premiere, some of you use Vegas, but because this is in, even though it will show that it's an AVI file, it's still using the x264 codec. And so to give you an idea, I did several tests. I did 5-minute recordings of Goat Simulator. For a 5-minute, it took me, let's say 720p, it took me about 4 minutes, 4.5 minutes to render a 5-minute segment using my old, this guy right here, my old Lagarith lossless. It would make, a 5-minute would make over a 10 gig file, and it would take me about 4 to 4.5 minutes to render that out in Premiere. Using this x264, the final, the raw file is 1 gig, 1.2 gig instead of 10, and it took me like 1 minute and 20 seconds to render that. And the quality is exactly the same. You would have to have some kind of Superman eyeball to notice the difference between the two. They look really, really good. So I hope this helps you guys out. Not my typical type of tutorial, and I know it was probably, I probably talk way too much, but hopefully this is straightforward enough. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments below, and I'll definitely do my best to try to help you guys out. Okie dokie. Hope you enjoyed, and until next time, take care, brush your hair. I'll see you when I see you. Peace.